Forget the pressure to overhaul your life. The new year doesn't need a new you. It needs you. Grow Therapy helps you make meaningful change at your pace and on your time. Grow connects you with thousands of independent, licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person sessions, nights and weekends. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments. You just pay per session. Grow accepts over 100 insurance plans, including Medicaid in some states. Sessions average about $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0, depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/try now today to get started. That's growtherapy.com/try now. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
Hey, Trojan family, what's up? Welcome back to the USC LAFB show here on the LAFB network. I'm your host, Ryan Dyrud. Hope everyone is doing well. USC Trojans land their first major transfer portal commitment. This was one before there was even the visit was scheduled. I said, hey, this is kind of a must-have. This is a big one. If they can lock this in before even letting him leave Los Angeles, that would be a huge win for the Trojans, and they do just that. Jontez Williams, the number one cornerback in the transfer portal from Iowa State, 1 year of eligibility left, has committed to USC, was visiting this weekend, and never left. I think the big storyline there is he was scheduled to go next to Notre Dame, and then after that to go to I believe his mother's alma mater, Florida. And he's from Florida originally. So it was kind of like, man, if he leaves LA, he's going to go spend 2 days or so with Notre Dame, and then he's going to go back home and be in Florida and on their campus. It might have been hard to sway him to come back. Not saying it wouldn't have happened, but as I always say, these visits are very important, and living in like the now and seeing what everything is to be offered. And so USC and Chad Bowden and Gavin Morris and Coach Dog and all the powers that be get this thing done before Williams ever leaves Los Angeles. So a huge hats off. I'll quickly talk about him and then kind of the, I guess, bigger picture, because obviously the big talk of the town, as it should be right now, is this defensive coordinator or lack thereof. Still no defensive coordinator hired. And so the fact they're able to land this is pretty impressive. So, Williams, 5'11", 200 pounds. Like I said, the number one rated corner in the transfer portal as it stood right now. He had a fantastic 2024 season. And then last year, this current season, I guess, that just ended, 2025, started off really good as well, and then injured his ACL 5 games in. So obviously a bit of a concern there coming off an ACL injury. But to me, the ceiling is absolutely worth the squeeze. A guy that's been kind of this dominant and is a veteran player. And as long as he, clears the health-wise, you're getting a real home run corner here, in my opinion. So through this season, right? So in those 5 games, only allowed 8 catches for 34 yards, 0 touchdowns. So true lockdown corner of that caliber. He's led the Big 12. Again, I always say PFF is not the Bible. Take it with a grain of salt, but it's a good measuring stick to at least give yourself a baseline. And he leads the entire Big 12 with a 90.6 coverage grade since 2024. So the past 2 seasons, leads the Big 12 in coverage grade, 90.6 or 90.6. So very impressive there. He also, when you look kind of more down the PFF stats, he has 87.1 tackling grade, an 84.5 83.5 overall grade on defense, 75.1 run defense grade. And so for his career, 67 tackles and 10 pass breakups and 5 interceptions. So has the stats to back it up. Kind of one of those lockdown guys that has done a tremendous job for Iowa State. And, with the change in coach there and Matt Campbell going to Penn State, obviously looking for a fresh opportunity in his final year of eligibility, and now finds one with USC. And USC can now check the box of one of the most important positions they've needed. Been saying all along, the secondary is extremely deep, is extremely talented, but extremely young and inexperienced. Even with Marcellus Williams coming back, being kind of the elder statesman, if you will, going to be a true or redshirt sophomore. Yeah, going to be a redshirt sophomore. So third collegiate year, and now has a year of basically a full-time starter. I mean, him and Braylon Conley at the beginning of the year kind of rotated, but essentially the starter. So got a lot of valuable reps this year, but still a young pup, redshirt sophomore, still learning, still developing. That's it. When you talk about corners, obviously Christian Pierce will be kind of the slated and starting safety, but even he is kind of a pseudo starting safety this year. Like, he obviously ended up starting a lot more because Kamari Ramsey had to play nickel, so he'll kind of return as the, most experienced safety. But you still have a lot of youth and inexperience there. And then aside from that, you're looking at Chasen Johnson, who missed this entire season with injury. You're looking at Prophet Brown, who would be seen as like a somewhat experienced guy. He hasn't played a ton, even though he'll be on his last year of eligibility with the medical red shirt, but at least an older guy, but he missed the entire year for injury. And then you look at, Alex Graham technically hasn't re-signed. I don't think there's any reason to concern there, but Alex Graham coming back, played after being injured just a little bit at the end of the year. D. Reddick, obviously, played a little bit here and there as a true freshman. Go down the list. So getting a guy like Jontez Williams that has a ton of experience, a lot of years of play, and elite play at the Power 4 level. That's the other key to this. Like, do you take a flyer on a kind of lesser quality opponent guy, a G6 guy, an FCS guy that just has off-the-chart intangibles and numbers, but the competition was lower, similar a little bit to kind of what happened this past season with some of their transfer portal guys? Or you go and get a guy that's going to cost a little bit more, but hey, was proven in Power 4 and can come and be a day one starter. So knocked out of the park with this one. As long as he's fully healthy, Jontez Williams will be slated as the starter going into the year. Now, it's going to be a competition. Doesn't mean he can't get beat out. Doesn't mean some of these young freshmen coming in and the return of, RJ Sermons and all the other guys I've mentioning can't maybe overtake him and he becomes just a very valuable depth piece. That can certainly still happen, but as of now, this definitely feels like a guy that will plug and play start. So huge win for USC. Huge win to not let him leave LA, not get to Notre Dame, not get to Florida, his mom's alma mater, where they're, I'm not saying there'd be added pressure, but hey, it's, it's close to home. It'd be like any SoCal kid that went away to college and then all of a sudden it hits the portal and comes back to LA and it's like, yeah, I want to come home. So USC able to lock it down. I'll be quick on this because I want to do kind of another video probably since the DC search is still ongoing or nothing has been announced. But this signals, you would think at least, that there is some plan in place. Maybe it just has not been announced yet. Like, it is rare, or not just rare, like it seems like a very big challenge to get not only a defensive player to commit, but the top defensive player that is going to command, or at least at his position, that is going to command not just a lot of offers, but pretty lucrative NIL offers to commit if you have zero idea of what you're doing on defense. So to me, this signifies there is a plan in place, whether that is, hey, we're basically promoting within, and then we're also going to bring some, like a veteran in as kind of more of a consulting DC, if you will, to kind of lean, so Henny or Bell can lean on and help, or whether they're saying, hey, there's a DC that we already feel like we've got a deal kind of done, but they're either still playing in the college football playoff or they were in the NFL and that season just ended as of this recording. Well, technically the Sunday night game's going on right now. So maybe it's that where, hey, once that season's done, that will be locked in. Maybe it's an NFL team that has a team in the playoffs. So again, kind of like similar to Coach Henny 2 years ago. I'm sure those conversations happened well before the Rams season ended, but did not become official until the Rams season ended. So there has to be, I think, some plan in place, and this kind of signifies that, which to me should at least make fans a little less uneasy. Doesn't mean necessarily you'll love the hire. Doesn't mean it's the best hire. I mean, who knows? I really don't know at this point. I have some speculation stuff. Again, I'll do a different video on that, but this has to at least give some positive thoughts that, like, hey, there's some sort of plan in place here that is going to happen, whether it's after the portal, before the portal, or like they know it internally, they know what's happening, and just publicly it has not happened because said person is still coaching for another team. So that has to show that. I think that signifies that to some degree, which I think is a good thing, because again, you're not going to get the number one guy with zero direction on defense. Hard to sell a guy, hey, we want to use you like this. This is the scheme fit you'll be. This is like how we'll blah, 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 blah. And then like, okay, well, who's going to be running it? Oh, we don't know yet, but we'll promise we'll do that. Like, I can't see that being the case. So that's a good thing. So big time get Jontez Williams, the first transfer portal addition for USC. Be back with plenty more. We'll talk some DC stuff. For those who didn't hear, I won't talk about it right now, but Pete Kwiatkowski just kind of came out. I think it was Bruce Feldman came out that he is kind of the targeted DC for Stanford. So not officially hired yet, but usually when one of those big time guys, Feldman, one of those put like, hey, this is the target, that usually means it's basically just the final stages of the contract before it's official. So seemingly Pete Kwiatkowski will not be the USC defensive coordinator. So there is someone else in the works for that position. We'll be back with plenty more. Let me know in the comments what you think of this Williams edition, how excited you are, who else you want, what position you want to see next. Drop it all in the comments. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be back with plenty more USC content all week long. Appreciate your family, and as always, fight on. Hey, Trojan family, thank you so much for hanging out and watching the USC LAFB show. Before you go, let me tell you quickly about our friends over at Sleeper. Go right now, download the Sleeper app. It's the #1 sports app, not just for season-long fantasy, but they've got live pickers, they've got live stat updates, they've got a chat that you can chat with other users, plus the daily Pick'em, which is a blast, or daily fantasy, whatever you want to call it. You go and pick 2 to 8 players across any sports. If you're talking USC, go choose J.D. Mayav in his next matchup. Pick more or less passing yards, more or less touchdowns. You stack those, and you can win real money. When you go to make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code USCLAFB. You're going to get a match deposit up to $100. Put in $100, you get $100 free to play with from Sleeper. Put in $10, they'll match you that $10, so now you're sitting at $20 to play with. But also, right now, for any new users, no deposit required. You get $20 free entry. You can stack both. You can get the $20 for free, go make a deposit, use USC LAFB, and now you've got a bunch of free money to play with right there on the Sleeper app. Check it out, Trojan family, and when you do, tell them the guys at the USC LAFB sent you.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.